Real Virginia is proudly produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation. Since 1926, Farm Bureau has been working to preserve Virginia farms and our rural heritage. Visit our website at vafb.com.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Hello everyone and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce all of the wonderful products we enjoy, brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau.
What does it take to raise a great sweet corn crop? Chef Maxwell says meat isn't the only thing you can smoke for your summer cookout. And concerned citizens and corporate partners are working together to provide fresh vegetables in an urban community.
Welcome back to Real Virginia, everyone. We are coming to you from Brayhead Farm Market in Fredericksburg, and it is sweet corn season in Virginia. Dave Miller spent some time with a producer who takes extra care to raise his crop for his customers.
Just 10 miles southeast of Fredericksburg, off U.S. Route 17, you'll find some of the sweetest corn you've ever tasted. Emmett Sneed has spent his life on the farm and knows sweet corn like the back of his hand. He grew up selling produce door to door in town while his father ran the family dairy farm. He bought his own property in 1980 and started raising produce.
Most places that grow sweet corn in a big way, like for a supermarket or wherever, canning to can, have a machine. They machine pick the corn, and it's a one-time pass, which creates a lot of waste. Now, corn is an unusual plant. It's a very productive and it's a high-end crop, and there's a lot of energy in this stalk. And so when the corn is first ready, we'll pick the corn 3 times. To give you an example, this corn right here is at its peak. So you snap it off the ear, and you shuck it down, and man, that thing is ready to eat. And if you don't believe it, it's even good raw.
Phoebe Jarvis grew up just down the road from Sneed's farm and has been working at the roadside stand for several months. She's served a lot of satisfied customers.
Most people buy like half a dozen. I'd say half a dozen would be a good number for a dinner of 2 people. Just once you start eating it, it's hard to stop. And a lot of people just are doing a lot of grilling in the summer, so it's convenient, easy, something you can do outside in the hot weather. Sometimes it's not very much fun to cook in the heated kitchen.
Raising a good crop of sweet corn starts almost a year before harvest, when pumpkins are ripe. Sneed plants a good cover crop in his fields to protect the soil from erosion over the winter and to build up nutrients. In the spring, he drills the corn seeds directly into the cover crop to prevent runoff into nearby creeks and the Chesapeake Bay.
So the second time we come across the field, we'll pick what I call the second ear, and that's on the same stalk. And see, if that was picked today, it'd be too soon. For most people, it's got an ear, and that's probably the way some ears would look in a grocery store or someplace where they picked everything at once. But in another 3 days, it would be filled to the tip and fatter and juicier right there. And when you bite into it, it would just squirt all over your face. Right now, it just kind of, it's kind of wimpy.
Sneed says his best land are his parking lots because parking areas bring in people, and people bring in money. The Sneeds operate a community-supported agriculture business that includes several hundred customers, and they work with neighboring farms to assemble a good variety of fresh produce.
You can definitely tell the taste difference, and you can see the difference. It's all fresh and crisp, and it's just delicious and entirely. Store produce often doesn't have any flavor. It'll be bland or mushy or just doesn't taste real. But you get stuff out here and it's got lots of flavor, and you can notice the difference for sure.
The Sneeds started their farm in 1980 and immediately broke it into 5-acre sites based on soil type. Sneed rotates his crop of corn, asparagus, pumpkins, and other produce around these fields. He says the key to delicious corn is to select the right variety. The older heirloom varieties, which haven't had their flavor bred out in favor of better shipping or storage capabilities, are his favorites. Sneed says heirloom mixed seed is more expensive but offers the best of yellow and white corn combined. He's named his own favorite variety, Sugar and Spice, and takes pride in raising a top-quality crop in small batches.
Of course, it's more work and more labor, and it costs more. But it's so much better and efficient use of the land, the crop, and resources that you put into growing the corn. So you got ready to roll, just about ready, and almost ready. But it's all corn, it's all good, and it's all yummy.
When Sneed's harvest is done, he lightly discs the soil to kill the weeds and then plants buckwheat and sunflowers to start the growing cycle all over again. They also bring in birds, bees, and especially more people to grow his farm tourism operation. It's a win-win-win for his farm, his customers, and the environment. In Caroline County, this is Dave Miller.
August is the peak of sweet corn season in the Old Dominion. Unlike regular field corn, sweet corn needs special care to be delivered at the peak of flavor. Regular rains are nice, but some producers irrigate their crop to assure top quality. Sweet corn must be raised a significant distance from regular feed corn fields to prevent cross-pollination, which would destroy its value as a special summer treat. Sweet corn is raised on 28,069 acres of Virginia farmland each summer, and almost all of it sold direct to consumers at farmers markets, roadside stands, or a few local grocery stores.
I'm Mark Viette. Coming up on In the Garden, we're going to talk about Helleborus. To learn what that is, stay with us.
Farm Bureau is the insurance provider of choice for farmers. But did you know all Virginians can benefit? In fact, most of our members are not farmers. Members may take advantage of discounts on selected autos, trucks, mowers, and tractors on top of the many insurance offerings. Your $40 membership will easily pay for itself with our many savings options as well. Farm Bureau is made for Virginians. To learn more about the membership advantage, go to vafb.com or visit your local Farm Bureau.
Deer damage can be a huge problem for gardeners, but Mark Viette knows of a plant that deer absolutely can't stand in the garden.
Shakespeare talked about hellebores in his work. It was used as a poison. So this is a great plant that deer won't touch. Rabbits don't eat it, squirrels don't eat it, and it is that great deer-proof plant. Helleborus is also known as the Lenten rose. There's also the Christmas rose that blooms during December, beginning of January. But the Lenten rose is a great, durable, hardy plant. It really likes the bright shade. In colder areas, it can grow in full sun. Wide variety of colors. Purples, reds, yellows, whites, pinks, single flowers, double flowers. And you really want a plant, as you see in front of me or behind me, that just is filled with blooms. And some flowers face upward, some flowers face downward. It is an easy plant to grow. It is a plant you may not want to mulch too much because it reseeds. Like behind me, they've reseeded in that area. One of those hardiest plants, or probably within the top 10 perennials that I can recommend that is long-lived for your garden. There are so many different varieties that you can choose from nowadays. You know, I remember going to England, it was like 16 years ago, and I visited growers or backyard gardens, and the people that lived in these places were specializing in trying to create new hellebores. Well, the problem is they had to be divided, and you can only make a few out of every plant every year. A great time to divide hellebores is sometime in August. And at the same time, you can transplant little seedlings if you see them around the mother plant. With the onset of tissue culture and cloning, they now can produce hellebores in vast quantities. Many of these plants are patented, so they're still expensive. You know, don't be surprised if you're looking at a hellebore for between $15 and $35 for one plant. In addition to the different colors, which I'll show you in a minute, there are some types with unique foliage. This one is known as Helleborus multifidus, with beautiful, pinnately cut, fine, delicate foliage. When we're looking at the colors, a whole array of colors. Now, I don't have any of the yellows. There's yellows and there's oranges and near reds that are available today. And if you look closely at some of the flowers, they have a unique center to the flower. So sometimes they have, a beautiful outer look and a great inner look. And this is one of my favorites right here, a new purple variety. I'm Mark Viette. Join me next time in the garden.
For more garden tips, go to inthegardenradio.com.
Tomatoes are coming in fast and furious from the garden this summer. Chef Maxwell has a fun and different way to prepare them next in the heart of the home.
The State Fair of Virginia is known for its family-friendly atmosphere, exciting attractions, and, of course, fabulous fair food. The most important focus continues to be youth and adult livestock competitions, and dozens of competitions where other Virginians can win a coveted State Fair blue ribbon. Everything from prize vegetables to baked goods to crafts and photography are featured each year as the best of the best. The 2018 State Fair of Virginia runs September 28th to October 7th at Meadow Event Park in Caroline County. Visit statefairva.org to learn more.
Many people enjoy smoking meat for their summertime cookouts, but why not smoke tomatoes? Chef John Maxwell has a delicious way to get even more flavor from your fresh garden tomatoes in the heart of the home.
Hi, welcome to Heart of the Home. I'm Chef John Maxwell, and we're here in Meadow Hall at Meadow Event Park in Doswell, Virginia, where we get a chance to play with great Virginia food every week. This is a gorgeous time. August is such a wonderful month for the garden, so we're going to be doing something special. We're going to make a smoked tomato salsa for an asparagus, for a cold asparagus dish. So it is full of big flavors. The first thing we got to do is prep our tomatoes. I'm going to core it, all right, and then make a little slice, an X, through the skin on the bottom side. Now we're going to take these, the water's boiling really good, a little bit of salted water, right, and in this goes. All right, now it's been 1 minute exactly, and I'm going to take these tomatoes out and put them down into ice water to stop the cooking process, because we don't want to cook these tomatoes. All we want to do is loosen the skin enough to be able to get the skin off. And you can see how much fat, how good this loosens the skin, so that the skin comes off. And we still have a very good texture to the tomato. And what I'm going to do now is cut these tomatoes in half across the wide side. Right? And now squeeze out the seeds, because I don't want them in my salsa. All right, I'll put that down there. Right down there. I'm going to take the tomatoes, turn them upside down, cut side down on this rack, and I'm going to start getting this hot. Now I've got these rosemary twigs. This is from my garden out in front of my house. Nice and heavy woody stems, but you can use any kind of smoking device. You can use wood chips, you can use anything. I like to smoke them with herbs, and rosemary has a nice woody stem that'll smoke really nice. I'm going to throw a little leaf in there too, so that it gets oil, and it's hot. I soaked them so that they wouldn't catch fire. Close that over, and now we're going to wait for that to begin to smoke. All right, and when we've got a good smoke generated, we're going to put those tomatoes in over that to let them catch some of the smoke. Okay, looks like it's starting to roll now, so in we're going to go. Now I've got them up high, away from the heat source. Now I'm going to close those over, and they're going to take about 5 or 6 minutes in there to get really good smoke. And with that distance away from the fire source, they should still be firm when I take them out. And there we go. And you can see that the tomatoes have not cooked, right, significantly. All right, I'm just going to take them out. All right, they're hot, they're smoky. You can smell that rosemary. All right. Okay, I'm going to put this back on so we don't get a room full of smoke. All right. So now I'm going to cut these tomatoes into a bit of a dice. It does not have to be uniform. It doesn't have to be tiny. This is going to be a salsa, and they're hot, so they're going to be weeping a little bit of liquid. So now I'm going to bring this over. Right. Throw the tomatoes in. Right. And now I'm going to add some yellow pepper for color and a little bit of sharpness. Right. Some diced onion for bulk and a little bit of acid. A little bit more onion. All right. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of this sauce. I made the sauce with apple cider vinegar and honey. Just going to add that in there. Just a little bit of it. And now I'm going to mince up a little bit of herbs. You can use any herbs you want in here. I've got some marjoram that I'm going to use and some tarragon. And of course we got the rosemary. And I'm not going to chop them up small. These are small herbs anyway. I'm just going to toss them into the salsa. Now a little bit of rosemary. Rosemary, make sure you don't use dry rosemary. Make sure it's good and fresh rosemary, because these are like needles if you get the dry. You can use dried herbs for most things, but not rosemary. All right, and a little bit of marjoram here. And again, you can use any kind of fresh herbs you want. Basil is a good ingredient for this. All right, so we've got all of that there, and I'm just going to toss this up. So there we go. Now I'm going to take these asparagus, which I blanched. I took a regular asparagus spear, peeled it with a vegetable peeler, dropped it down in the water the same way I did the tomatoes for 1 minute, and pulled them out and put them in ice water. And so they're cooked. They've got that nice little color, right? The graded color coming down. And now this is a nice plate of cold asparagus. And I'm going to put a little bit of this salsa over the top of it. And maybe I'll use a little bit of marjoram over the top of it. And there we go, smoked tomato salsa on asparagus. So join us next week on Heart of the Home, where we get to play with great Virginia food.
Recipes from the heart of the home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafb.com, as well as on Chef Maxwell's website at chefjohnmaxwell.com. Nothing says summer like a fresh Virginia tomato. Tomatoes are so popular in today's diet, they're raised year-round in some areas. Tomatoes are raised in the open on 912 farms in the Old Dominion each summer, covering more than 3,000 acres. Some smaller growers use high tunnels to extend their growing season. But with advances in greenhouse technology, particularly hydroponic tomato culture, greenhouse tomatoes are raised year-round at 136 installations across the state. Those operations supply fresh tomatoes to grocery chains in every season and account for $1.8 million in cash receipts each year.
There are food deserts all across urban and rural areas of Virginia. There's a new partnership forming that will provide a food oasis for the people of Chesterfield County this summer.
Today is very exciting because it is the start of what we expect to be a much larger project. And what we're doing is taking this 2.2 acre piece of property and partnering with Sabra Dipping Company, who of course has the largest hummus producing facility in the world right up the road here in Chesterfield County. And they have joined us with volunteers, and they have provided additional assistance in order to build a raised bed garden, and that is specifically what we're doing today, is the raised bed garden. At the end of the day, we hope to have 10 gardens erected. Half of them will be at a lower height and wheelchair accessible. The other half will be at full kind of waist height, and we'll be planting some summer crops in there.
Plants with a Purpose is an initiative at Sabra Dipping Company, and we are dedicated to creating awareness and alleviating the impact of food deserts in the communities where we live and work. So we are committed to working in this partnership with VSU to build out this summer seed project, to build garden beds that can help educate the community and provide better access to fresh vegetables in a community of need.
Now, pull it. Don't unroll it, just pull it.
We want this to be a really essential part of the community where citizens can get fresh vegetables and fruit as a part of their diet and developing nutrition and all of that. So we're really excited that this is really coming to be a big part of what we've been hoping for a long time.
This is a lot of work. This is a lot of work, but it will produce a lot of produce. We'll produce from a garden like this hundreds and hundreds of pounds, if not thousands of pounds of produce. So from our experience from other gardens that we've participated in the other communities where we work, we have seen a garden of this size produce that kind of harvest. So we think it's an incredibly important thing for us to deliver out, again, our Sabra values into the community and help us deliver a program that makes an impact where we live and work.
2.2 acres in some ways seems like a little bit of land, but in other ways it seems like a lot, especially when you're brainstorming how to really maximize this land for the greater good of the community as far as agriculture and food access goes. So we knew it was sort of a no-brainer to get these raised beds in first. We're now working with the concerned citizens of Ettrick and the Chesterfield County government in order to determine what should the next phase be. I could tell you one of the things that we've got earmarked for down the road is a building, like a full bricks and mortar building, and we're calling that the incubator kitchen and classroom. And what we're going to do there is it'll provide, as I said, classroom setting to teach food preparation, healthy eating, because our community suffers a lot from obesity, diabetes, and other issues that arise when you don't have access to fresh, healthy food or when you don't know what to do with it.
We've just been concerned about the little house on the corner, so we've done everything we could to be a part of what is going on with it, the initiation of the project, the historical society that came to renovate the property. So we've been on it, from the beginning, and really proud to see that it is taking on some fruition. It's developing, and we're so proud.
Reporting in Chesterfield County, I'm Matthew Boyce.
That's going to do it for this edition of Real Virginia. We are so glad you could join us to celebrate the bounty Virginia has to offer. Whether it's in your home, your garden, or your landscape, we are proud to say that this is Real Virginia. So for everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a good week.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay.